First question, David. Facile Vega. Do you keep the faith after Leopardstown, or do you think he's vulnerable now in the Supreme?
No, I keep the faith.
What happened at Leopardstown?
Paul, give my brain dead right.
Was that it? Was that just it?
Yeah, he went too fast. Sure, they went 7 furlong pace, like.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He was 6 seconds quicker than the handicap hurdle, 3.5 seconds quicker than the champion hurdle on the same day. Just done the damage early. Paul knew the game was up. He just gave up on him. He still actually finished ahead. He finished faster than actually Gaelic Warrior did, time-wise, when you look at the 2 races upsides of the handicap. So he'll be all right.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry.
Jonny, you were a Facile Vega fan, and now you're not. You don't subscribe to the theory that David Casey has just described there. You don't think that was the reason Facile Vega ran the way he did?
No, I thought he ran bad. I did, and I know that you can say times and all that, but he did go fast in the race. But I didn't think High Definition had any trouble laying up at Facile Vega, and it looked like even very early in the race, you wouldn't like to be on Facile Vega. Like once High Definition departed, you'd say, yeah, he might probably win now, all right. But even before that, I just thought the stress things were on. And just the way he gave up. I know that the jockey probably did take it easy on him, but I would be very worried as going to Cheltenham on the back of a run like that. For me, I couldn't have him the next day anyway, not a hope.
What do you say to Jonny then there? Like he was a fan, now he's not. Do you think?
I'm sure there's plenty like him. Like, listen,
there
of course,
is, yeah.
it's a bad run. You'd prefer it didn't happen, but you know, I just see him at home. He was lame for a week after, in fairness, and he got a bad overreach in the race. But listen, he worked very well yesterday. Patrick actually rode him work yesterday. Was delighted with him. So I'd forgive any horse one bad run. We forgave Shishkin too. So
we did. We forgave and we forgot Shishkin. What is likely to run here from Clive Sutton?
Facile will run. I would imagine Impaired Pass will go to Ballymore. Elite Ted Thomas will run. The horse that won in Leopardstown. Gaelic Warrior, I would say, will go to Ballymore. Hunter's Yarn could go to County. Diverge will definitely run. And In Excess could go here or to Ballymore. And Dark Raven the same, depending on owner. So we could have 4, maybe 5 in it.
And if David Casey was still riding and you were number 1 jockey with Willie, what would you ride?
Facile Vega.
Jonny, you're gone off Facile Vega, so what do you like in the race now?
I'm going to take a chance in High Definition that he might just maybe buck out, and I don't think anybody will want to go near him the next day, and he might just make the run if he's jumping held up. Look, he's a 12-1 chance. He'll either win or blow out. That's the way I look at him anyway, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's in the bar list there. I don't see his name, so he's obviously 16-1 bar.
Yeah, I'd say High Definition is probably too big a price now.
Really?
As well. Listen, Jonny was on about that he had no trouble laying up the last day. He's a 1.25 mile Group 1 horse in the flat, so he shouldn't have any trouble laying up.
Yeah.
Really, but I'd say he's too big a price.
Yeah, 16-1 High Definition. Peter Fahey, it's an open Supreme this year. It looked a complete closed book before the Dublin Racing Festival, but it's wide open now. What do you like in it?
Yeah, look, I don't think Facile Vega has much of a chance, to be honest with you. They're going even if they change tactics going back to Cheltenham, like he's never jumped a hurdle behind a horse, so I reckon he could go to Cheltenham and run way too keen. I think Barry Connell's horse, to be honest with you, Marie National, he was very good. Things didn't work out for him the last day when he won the Royal Bond, but I think he might pick of the race.
David, before I leave you on Facile Vega, how do you think he's going to be ridden in the Supreme this time?
I'd say, I imagine he'll be handy away, and we'll see on the day what way the race pans out. But I imagine he won't be dropping out too far or anything like that. I wouldn't have thought anyway.
Do you think he'll lead over the first?
Possibly.
Okay.
It's possible. He'd be jumping out to get a position, and whether that's in front over the first or whatever, I don't know.
If he's still in front going to the second, I'd say they'd be going fairly slow.
Might be, yeah, well, I don't know. So. But a lot will depend on what's declared and what else happens, you know.
Absolutely. Robbie, do you think the race revolves around Facile Vega?
No, I don't, and I think the fact that Willie's going to run, as David says, probably run 4 or 5 in this race. If Willie's a really hot one, he doesn't do that. He divides them up and sends them different ways. So I think the fact that they're going to run
in 40 the race, so
I know, but I think the fact they're going to run 4 here, the confidence is they still think Facile Vega is their best horse, and I still think Paul Tyrone will ride him in it. I can't see him getting off him to ride Impere Pa, Elete Tomp, who he beat impressively at Christmas. But I agree with all the lads are saying. I think High Definition, not ideal going into the Supreme on your second run falling at the fourth hurdle or unseating at the fourth hurdle. But he has an each way chance, and he's probably overpriced. Of the Willie thing, I think probably Il Tete is better value to run his race. I think back in Facile Vega is dodgy at this stage.
Denis, as I said, it's 3-1 the field here with Facile Vega. Marine National, obviously, you rode plenty of horses for Barry Connell over the years. Do you think he could have his first Cheltenham Festival winner here with Marine National?
He could. Well, Michael O'Sullivan could, yeah. I suppose, as regarding a trainer, I suppose he could, yeah. As an owner,
obviously
he's a success, yeah.
Ridden by you, of course.
Listen, I'd agree with Peter. Things went against him in the Royal Bond on soft ground, and I think he's been much better horse on a bit of nice ground. And the only other horse I know by French Navy is a horse known me. He's won a couple of group races on the flat, and he was a very good horse on nice ground. So a kind of similar sort of horse, lots of class, and he's been very progressive. I'd be a little bit negative on Facile Vega. He's obviously a quality horse, but if he jumped the last or the second last in Leopardstown and he finished 5th, 3rd, 4th, getting tired, I would say then I'd blame the ride. But I thought he was beaten quite early in the race, and you know, I would be nervous at that now going into Cheltenham, and I actually fancy at a big price a horse called Dark Raven of Willie's for a bit of each way value, only for the fact that I rode a nice horse the other day in Gorham Park called Dr. Bravo, and he beat him in his maiden in Leopardstown. So that to me that'd be good each way value at a big price.
Excellent. That's Dark Raven for Denis O'Regan. Right, Tony Keenan, you have the casting vote in the Supreme. What wins?
I wouldn't have a strong opinion in David, to be honest. I'd be a little bit against
build you up there,
no,
and that's what
I
you
don't,
come back
I don't,
with.
maybe later on.
Unbelievable.
I'd be like the lads, bar David, I'd be against Facile Vega. I'd love Willie Mullins' horse coming into a novice hurdle with a string of ones in front of his name. I think they win a lot more often than they lose, but just to come back from that run the last day, it's a tight turnaround. I actually was kind of interested in the horse Dennis was talking about there, Dr. Bravo. I don't know, would he be sharp enough for the Supreme, but I think he has the ability. I thought he was the best horse in the Red Mills last week. Now, it mightn't have been much of a race because Sharjah wouldn't really handle the ground, but I think if he hadn't been got to the front a wee bit. No, it was a steady pace, I'd say, as much as anything, and then clipping the second last. Now, he was only making his racecourse debut back in December there, Hatton's Grace meeting in a bumper, so there should be bags of improvement with him. Look, maybe he'd be too green to win a Supreme at this stage, but I think it's that type of year. It's a Lebec or a Somerville Boy or even an Abizayan year. Like they've urged there's another one could come out of the woods to run a race. I don't think there's a superstar in it. I'd chance something at a price rather than forgive maybe Facile Vega.
Okay, we go across the line then. If I forced you, and it sounds like I have to force you, if I forced you to have a bet in the Supreme, what would it be?
Dr. Bravo.
Dr. Bravo for Tony. Puppy?
Ilete Tom.
Ilete Tom. Dennis?
Marine National.
Peter? 2 votes for Marine National. David?
Facile Vega.
And Johnny?
Yeah, high definition.
And high definition. So you're probably more confused now than you were when you came in.
Get in on the action with epic offers from Boyle Sports on every race, every day of the Cheltenham Festival. Epic Cheltenham with Boyle Sports. It's time to switch.